Hi, welcome to the Sifu Mimi Chan Show. Thanks for joining the conversation. Hi everyone, as many of you know, I'm currently writing a bill with Representative Anna V. Eskamani and Senator Linda Stewart to include AAPI history for the K-12 education curriculum here in Florida. I had the privilege of sitting down with students from diverse backgrounds across the state of Florida to discuss why they believe AAPI history should be included in their education. I was blown away by their stories. Some of the challenges and hardships they shared are heartbreaking. Students from 6 to 21 shared their knowledge of AAPI history and culture, as well as their experiences with discrimination because of their ethnicity. Apologies for the sound, as this was recorded for the town hall, which can be viewed on the Make Us Visible Florida page. I was so impressed with these kids. I felt their voices needed to be amplified as loud as possible. Please listen to their stories, sign the petition, and support our bills. Florida, I am so excited to announce that our bills have been filed and we can officially start calling our House representatives and senators to ask them to co-sponsor Bill HB 281 and SB 490. Tell them to vote yes for those bills and that you want AAPI history included in the K-12 curriculum here in Florida. I would appreciate the support, but these students are the ones that want AAPI history in their education, as you're about to hear. So let's help make it happen for them. I'm loving these conversations and hope you are too. If you are, please rate my podcast on your platform of choice and share it with others. If you would like to support with a donation to help keep this podcast going, you can become a patron of the show by visiting my website or patreon.com/SifuMimiChan. For comments or suggestions, email me at sifumimichan@gmail.com or reach out on social media at SifuMimiChan. Now on with the show.
Hello, everybody. I am super excited to be here. We are all part of Make Us Visible Florida, and I have got these amazing students with me this evening. Yay! I mean, I wish I had a sound effect machine so I could have all this applause going and everything, but I will do my formal introduction now, and we are going to be hearing from all of these wonderful students in just a bit. So hello, good evening. For those that don't know me, my name is Mimi Chan, or Sifu Mimi Chan. I am an educator, a Florida resident, and a proud member of the AAPI community. I'd like to take a minute to break down that acronym. AAPI stands for Asian, American, and Pacific Islander. There's a key word in there that has to be pointed out: American. AAPI history is American history. As such, it should always be part of the conversation when the history of this great nation is discussed. However, AAPI history is often ignored. Our children go through the public school system from kindergarten all the way through their high school graduations without ever learning anything about the journey AAPI citizens took to become an important part of this melting pot we call home. Hate is a powerful and scary word. We see the aftermath of it quite often. It is so powerful that we have a special term reserved for heinous actions undertaken beneath the banner of hate. They are hate crimes. And hate crimes against the AAPI community have been on the rise for over the last year and a half. We often hear it said that hate is born of ignorance. So we must also then believe that if ignorance breeds hate, then knowledge must breed compassion and kindness. That is what we are fighting for with this bill. If we can educate our youth, teach them of the journey that AAPI people have undertaken and the contributions that they have made to our society, then we can create a compassionate, welcoming, inclusive environment. That is our American dream. The realization of a promise that this is the land of opportunity, that liberty and justice exist for all Americans. An old Chinese proverb says that a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. We believe that first step is the introduction of AAPI education into our schools. Since the inception of this initiative, we have been hearing from kids from all different parts of Florida and from diverse backgrounds. They want this knowledge. We want to give it to them. All we need now is the green light. Tonight, you'll hear from a number of people, and they come to us from all over the state. They come from the AAPI community and from outside of it, But regardless of who they are or where they come from, tonight they stand together. Tonight, we stand together to express our desire to see this educational initiative brought to life. And it is only together that we can truly achieve our American dream. I am honored to be moderating this discussion tonight with some incredible students who you're about to meet. Please welcome our first guest speaker, Mackenzie Ryan.
Hi, everyone.
Hello. How are you?
I am well. You?
I am very well. Thank you so much. Mackenzie Ryan, can you tell me how old you are?
I am currently 8 years old.
Okay. And what school do you go to?
I go to World School.
Okay. Is that online?
No, it's actually my home school.
Your homeschool. Oh, awesome. Very, very cool. And if you're comfortable sharing, because I was fortunate to be able to kind of talk to you a little bit before this discussion, can you tell me about a time when you have maybe been made fun of because of your ethnicity?
There was actually one time during the pandemic, one of my close friends from dance class, she made a racial remark, and it very troubled me. She said that Chinese people should go back to their own country and that they're dirty and they have viruses, and that hurt me, and she was so racist and rude to me.
Oh my goodness, Mackenzie Ryan, I am so sorry that you had to endure those words. Sorry that she said that to you. Obviously, you're a very strong young lady, and you know that none of that is true, and that her words don't have any power, and that you are stronger than that. So I thank you for sharing that with me, because I know that that's not easy. And thank you for being so strong.
No problem.
Can you tell me, in your school, have you learned anything about AAPI history?
No, I don't learn that. I only learn it from my parents and traveling around the world and stories. I've currently been to Asia, which is probably the most favorite place I've been. Hong Kong, China, and many more places.
Wow, your passport has a lot of stamps in it.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I love it. That is so amazing. It's a really great way to learn, actually, is to travel the world. So I think that's really awesome. And, I know you're here because you feel it's important to learn more about AAPI history, to also prevent people from maybe making those hurtful comments to you if they understood you a little bit better. But, why do you think it's important for AAPI history to be taught in school?
I think it's important to be taught in school because there is no answers of awareness, and I think it's important because you need to show respect and kindness to your community and especially your surroundings.
Oh my goodness, that is so well said, Mackenzie Ryan. And how old did you say you were?
I was 8 years old.
Oh my goodness, you sounded like you were 18 years old just now. So I am very impressed with you, young lady. Mackenzie Ryan, do you want to share anything else?
Yes, I will. I think that why is it so difficult to learn and mostly just help AAPI and just make it something that people will just learn, or just maybe not forget, but just have it in their mind to know that, oh, this is AAPI and that this is important to us.
Thank you so much, Mackenzie Ryan. That is amazing. And that is what we're all here fighting for and discussing. And you are a part of that. So thank you very much for joining me tonight. It was so lovely to meet you. And I know that we are going to be talking again very, very soon. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Have a good evening. Let's hear it for Mackenzie Ryan. Oh, wow. We're off to such a start. I am so impressed. Our next guest speaker is Madeline. Hi, Madeline.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm good.
Oh, my goodness. Can you tell me how old you are?
I am 9 years old.
Okay. And what school do you go to?
Bay Meadows Elementary.
Oh, all right. Do you like your school?
Yes.
Yeah. You have to say that, right? No, I'm just kidding. Can you tell me, because I heard that you were really into learning and you like studying and you said you like your school. So have you learned anything about AAPI history in school?
Unfortunately, no.
No? Oh my goodness. Why do you want to learn about AAPI history?
Because I want to learn more about my culture. And I'm like, I don't really know that much.
I see. And can you tell me a little bit about your culture, about where your background is, where your parents and your grandparents are from?
Well, my grandma is from Vietnam and my mom is from Cambodia.
I see. And I have to say, the only thing I really know is they have really good food. What's your favorite food from Vietnamese or Cambodian cuisine?
That's a really tough one.
I know, it's so hard to choose, right? Do you have any questions? Like I have a professor that's going to be on a little later, and I know when you filled out your survey, you told me you had some questions more about AAPI history. What was the question that you had, or what more did you want to learn about?
Well, I want to learn more about it because I really am interested in going through my background and understanding how did this happen? Why did this happen?
Yeah.
So I really want to learn more about that.
Thank you so much, Madeline, for sharing with me tonight. I am hoping that you will get to learn that. And you being here talking about this with me is one step closer to hopefully having those lessons in school for you, so you can learn a little bit more about your background and where your grandparents and your parents are from, and a little bit more about yourself, right? And so thank you so much for sharing with me tonight. And it was so lovely to meet you.
You too.
All right, let's hear from Madeline. She's amazing. All right, next we have Eamon. Hi, Eamon.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
Yeah. Can you tell me how old you are?
6.
6. All right. What school do you go to?
Star Child.
Star Childs. Okay. Do you like your school? Yeah. All right. Can you tell me what you know about Asian American culture or history?
I know drums.
You know drums? When do you see the drums usually, or when do you hear or play them?
Chinese New Year.
At Chinese New Year. So you know about Chinese New Year, and I happen to know why you know, but can you tell me why you know about Chinese New Year? What do you do?
I go to Kung Fu.
That's right, you go to Kung Fu. So Eamon happens to be one of our students at the Wallam Temple, and he loves drumming and Kung Fu and learning about that, right? So why do you want to learn more about AAPI history and culture in school? Like, why do you want to learn about it in school when you have Kung Fu?
Because then I learned the language.
Oh, you want to learn the language. Very nice, very nice. And do you know any of the language now? Do you know how to speak any of the Asian languages? Which one?
Ni hao.
Ni hao. Okay, very good. So you think it's a good idea to learn more about AAPI history in school? You can say yes or no. All right, I'll take the nod as a yes. And ni hao is hello, and zaijian is goodbye. So that's the second one for you today. So hopefully, Eamon, you will get a chance to learn a little bit more. Thank you for being here tonight and for sharing and for helping teach us about what everybody wants to learn about. So I want to learn more about language as well. So thank you, Eamon. Okay, bye-bye. All right, let's hear it for Eamon. Oh my gosh, this is so much fun. I've done so many roundtables and so many Zoom calls, and I have to say this is probably the most fun I've been having. So I'm excited. These students are really energizing me. Our next guest is Kira. Hi, Kira.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing good.
Great. Can you tell me how old you are and what school you go to?
Yes, I'm 10 years old and I go to St. Paul Catholic School in Leesburg, Florida, Central Florida.
Oh, okay. Leesburg, Central Florida. I have been there once, I think. Can you tell me, because we also spoke a little bit earlier, and you have a story to share as well, if you're comfortable, about a time when you've maybe been made fun of because of your ethnicity.
Yes, it's kind of like a stereotype. I usually study a lot. I take my work very seriously at school. I've been kind of made fun of for that. And when I first got to St. Paul, a lot of kids, they didn't really like talking with me, or like they kept trying to like avoid me because of my skin color. But overall, there was one person who actually did accept me for who I am, and her name was Danielle Weimer. She welcomed me to the school, and to this day, we are still friends. We've been friends ever since kindergarten.
Oh, I am so glad that you have a close friend like that, offered you that kindness. But I am really, really sad to hear that you felt excluded and that you felt, because of the way that you looked, you were treated a certain way. I'm very, very sorry that you had to go through that. I want you to know that I've also been through that, and you're not alone, that these things happen, but we are here tonight to prevent them from happening, right? We're here speaking out and sharing these stories so that others can hear that these things happen. So thank you for being brave and for sharing that. Have you learned about AAPI history in your school?
I haven't really learned much. I've learned about like World War II and how it affected Guam. I don't really know much about the culture though.
I see. And you're interested in Guam, of course, because you have a connection. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, I don't. Well, yeah, my mom is from Guam.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Have you been there?
Yes, we usually go there every year,
Okay.
but because of COVID, I couldn't really go this year.
Oh, I know. There's a lot of places I wasn't able to go because of COVID as well. So hopefully someday very soon we will all be safe to be able to go to all these wonderful places. Can you tell me one of your favorite things about Guam? Because I've never been there.
Yeah, well, it used to be a very fun place when I was younger. Sometimes I would go to the beach and I would just play in the sand. And sometimes when I got a little older, I used to go like scoop. I would sometimes like play in the water, and I would just get pushed by the waves, and I would just.
Well, it sounds like a very magical place and a very tropical place, which is definitely somewhere I would definitely enjoy being. So thank you for sharing a little bit about that island with me. Can you tell me what do you want to learn about AAPI history?
Yeah, because I don't really know much about the culture, I want to learn their way of living, and I want to also learn about their language.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, about language. And that's something that Eamon had mentioned, language, which is so cool, being able to grow up hearing different languages. I was very lucky. I got to grow up hearing different languages, but honestly, I didn't get to learn it to its fullest extent. So I'm with you. I think it would have been very nice and to be able to learn a little bit more about it. So you feel like we should definitely be including AAPI history in school?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have anything else to share with me tonight?
Well, when I was younger, I used to travel a lot. I usually travel to like places like Asia and other places.
I see. So we've got a lot of kids who are, pretty young that have been to a lot of places. I'm so impressed. That's really, really great. Is there one country in Asia that you remember that kind of stands out to you as something that you enjoyed visiting?
Well, I don't really remember because of all the other previous places I've been to.
All right. Well, you're just going to have to get back out there and start traveling again as soon as it's safe. Thank you so much, Kira, for sharing with me tonight and for being here.
It's my pleasure being here.
Thank you. All right. Next, we have Mary.
Hello.
Hi, Mary. So lovely to meet you. Can you go ahead and please introduce yourself?
Yes, so my name is Mary Ayers. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a junior at Florida State University College of Social Work. I'm also a member of FSU's Asian American Student Union, Filipino Student Association, and Asian American Student Life Task Force.
Oh my goodness, that is quite a resume already, young lady. Tell me a little bit about, because of course you are in college now, and I'm excited to be talking to these elementary, middle, and high school kids, but you just kind of left that world. What did you learn about AAPI history when you were in, elementary through high school?
The only thing that I ever learned was in high school learning about Japanese internment camps.
Okay.
I've learned a lot more about Asian American history since then through the Asian American Student Union. They hold a lot of events to teach us, which has been very helpful. It helped me realize what I didn't realize what was missing from my education. Yeah. However, it also makes me sad that the responsibility is being put on my fellow students, 20-something-year-old classmates teaching me about history that should have been taught in school.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something that I also echo in order to learn more. I had to seek out that information on my own, or like you said, from sources that it's not a burden per se, but it's really difficult that it's not something that's already in the curriculum. And I felt that deficit as well. And from what you have learned, because you've clearly done a lot of research and you've done a lot of courses and you're taking it to the next level, what did you find most interesting about Asian American history?
I would say the most interesting that I've learned was actually through this documentary that they did a screening for us for called Chinatown Uprising. I'm not sure if they're on any streaming services yet, but it's definitely something that everyone should look into. And in 1969 at San Francisco State University, there was this group called the Third World Liberation Front, which was people of all different races and ethnicities fighting at their university to get an ethnic studies program for people to be able to take African American studies, Hispanic studies, Asian American studies. And that was actually where the first Asian American studies program in the whole United States was founded. And it was really interesting learning about the Asian American activism and involvement. And in the documentary, just watching people that looked like my friends and my family fighting for their rights. And it was definitely inspiring, especially as I'm currently still fighting to get Asian American studies at FSU.
Right. I mean, the struggle continues, right? It's one of those things where every action matters, though, and you being here tonight is integral. And so thank you for that. I know we also had a chance to kind of catch up a little bit earlier. And if you're comfortable sharing, can you maybe tell me about a time when you've been discriminated against because of your ethnicity or background?
I mean, growing up, I feel like a lot of us have similar experiences where I would be made fun of for the food that I brought to school, or people would make jokes about me only being smart because I'm Asian, or being called slurs. I've been called a chink before by my classmates, which was really hurtful. And as you get older, it's not something that you experience as much, but it's still something that you sometimes go through in college, which is really unfortunate.
Yeah. And, I know earlier I was talking to very, very young students and my tone, but honestly, the same for you, right? It doesn't matter how old you are. It's still very hurtful. We still have feelings. There's still emotion. And I just had a conversation the other day that even though we logically know a lot of these words, a lot of these things should have no power or meaning, it doesn't mean that your emotions are not affected. And it doesn't, logic and emotion don't operate on the same wavelength. And so I'm sorry that you've had to go through that and endure that. And I am very grateful that you're here sharing that. And so I know it's not always easy to do, especially out in the internet and the Zoom. And I know it's not easy. So it's very brave. And so thank you for that. I'd like you to share why you think it's important for all people to learn about AAPI history.
I feel that it's important because there's so many struggles that our community still faces that are rooted in history, such as racist immigration acts, hate crimes, and stuff like that. And I feel because a lot of you probably haven't heard the term model minority myth. It's kind of like this big term, but it's basically the stereotype that Asians are smarter, or Asians have better jobs or are richer than other minorities, which isn't true. We all know that. But because our struggles as a people are erased in history, people don't see that about us. They only see the stereotypes. They don't see the ways that we have been oppressed in the past and how it still hurts us. And so I think it's really important for us to be able to see ourselves in history and understand our place in today better, and to also break down those stereotypes so that not just for us, but for people around us to understand that we're people too. We have struggles and we still need to fight for those.
Very, very well said, Mary. And I know that you have to get going, but is there anything else you'd like to share? I mean, that was pretty all encompassing. And thank you for bringing up the mono-minority myth. It is definitely something people need to be aware of, but I'd love for you, if you have anything else to share, now's your chance.
I'm just so inspired seeing like all the young people here. I'm sure y'all are probably going to hear this all night, but as a kid, like activism wasn't something that I was really interested in. And, y'all are doing something that even a lot of adults don't even care to be doing. So I just want you all to like understand that even if it doesn't feel like it, what you're doing tonight is really important and you should be so proud of yourselves.
100%. And I am also proud of you, Mary. So that is echoed throughout this entire conversation. So thank you so much. And I know we're going to be talking again soon. I know you've been an ally to this coalition and you've been, kind of marching with us. So thank you so much and have a good evening. Thank you for being here.
Thank you too.
All right. Next, we have some brothers, Joshua and Liam. Let's see where they're at. Hey, guys. All right, let's get nice and close to that microphone, Joshua, and tell me how old you are.
I am 11 years old.
And what school do you go to?
St. Paul's.
St. Paul's, and you're 11. And have you learned any AAPI history in school?
Very little.
Very little. And why do you want to learn about AAPI history?
Because
get a little closer.
All countries start off somewhere, and like big countries, they have a past, and as it goes through over time, they actually get known for something or some reason.
Okay, very nice. And do you have questions about AAPI history? If you don't have a question, that's okay too. If you're speaking, I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
On like how like different areas have different effects on like different climates, like different temperatures. They're all different from one to another.
Yeah. So like geography and even the scientific side of it, this isn't just history and culture. There's science and there's geography. So yeah, very nice world studies. And Liam, maybe we can scoot over closer to the mic. Liam, hi.
Hello.
Hello. How old are you, Liam?
I'm 10.
10. And what school do you go to?
I also go to St. Paul's.
You also go to St. Paul's. So do you guys go together? Sorry, say it again. Okay. And can you tell me what you've learned about AAPI history and maybe move a little closer to the microphone?
Last year, we had one class to relearn about Asian Americans and how they had an impact on Florida.
Okay. Do you want to share that with me?
I don't remember a lot of it, but
okay.
I remember that they helped a lot with the technological industry.
Okay.
And they help with a lot of the electronics we have today.
Okay, that's excellent. And why do you want to learn more about AAPI history?
Because the Asian Americans also have an effect on our country. And so some of them helped us get where we are today. And so I want to learn more how they did that.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for your questions. Thank you so much for being here and sharing with us tonight. Let's hear it for Joshua and Liam. Thank you, guys. You were great. Thank you for sharing. All right, our next guest is Colin, who I have to say is one of our volunteers of Make Us Visible Florida and has been essential to helping have more traffic come into our sites and getting out. He's on our outreach team, and I'm super grateful for having Colin being a part of our team. Hi, Colin. Can you introduce yourself, everyone?
Hi. Okay. What did you ask? I'm sorry.
Just introduce yourself. Tell us your,
Okay.
school.
I'm 14. I go to Apopka High School, which is a public high school in Orange County.
And can you tell me what you've learned about in AAPI history in school?
It'd take a hot minute to have to think about that. Yeah, public high school does not teach you anything.
I see.
About AAPI history.
I see. That's really unfortunate. And I know that you are part of this coalition because you want to change that. And so this is why we're all here. And, you've been, again, part of the team. And I know that you've been sharing with us as well. And if you're comfortable sharing, maybe you can tell us about a time that you've been discriminated against because of your ethnicity.
Yeah, of course. So like when in elementary school, I had gotten a lot of racism, but it was very subtle. So I never even knew it was because I was Asian, because I'm half Asian. I'm multiracial, multicultural. So I never saw it as an attack on my ethnicity as being Chinese. So of course, the math stereotype, being very good at math. I'm really good at social studies, but I'm okay at math, but
not good at
subject. Yeah. And then, of course, like throughout 5th grade, this one girl called me Ching Chong. I thought it was, I don't even know the Chinese language, so I thought maybe she knew more than me. And then she was saying hello to me. I don't know. Like, I didn't know what she was talking about.
Yeah. It's interesting because as we get older, sometimes in reflection, we realize we've encountered racist incidents. But as a child, thankfully, sometimes it doesn't scar us because we don't really know what's happening. But as adults, we process things very differently. And you're pretty much an adult now in your teen years. But I am still sorry that you had to go through that and that you experienced that. And it's never easy, regardless. And even in reflection, that does affect us as well. Just because it's something that happened to you a while ago doesn't mean it doesn't affect your psyche now. So I just want you to know that you're in a safe space, and thank you for being here, and thank you for sharing that.
Of course.
And why do you think it's important for all people to learn about AAPI history?
I mean, I think it's important to understand our contributions to the nation. I mean, people a lot of the times historically have seen us as enemies to the nation, or as enemies towards our contributions to the economy. I mean, it gets a little difficult when, as an Asian American, you have to tell your history teacher what Asian American history is, because they don't know it, because it's so distant, and because they aren't required to teach it. So it's not their fault. It's just that they're not required to understand it. So you have to be, as the Asian American, to tell that story. And I don't think that should be the case. I think it should be the teacher teaching the student, not the student teaching the teacher.
100%, Colin. You couldn't have said it any clearer or better. Do you have any particular areas of AAPI history and studies that you're interested in?
Yeah, I mean, I am always interested about how minorities build on each other. I mean, if you look at it, Chinese Americans helped birthright citizenship, which obviously is helping the case with Hispanic Americans in this moment. Also, of course, Black Americans, when we helped establish Brown versus Board of Education when it came to equal citizenship and equality. And when I learned Brown versus Board of Education in civics in the 7th grade, I never knew that Chinese American helped Brown versus Board of Education change that. I never knew that. Mm-hmm. And I'd like to know that and learn that.
Well, you know that, and you're also sharing all of that with us tonight. So thank you for that, because I know everyone here thinks I'm the adult in this and I'm the moderator, but I will tell you that I'm here because I didn't get to learn about this in school, and everything I've learned, I've had to do outside of school, right? And so even here tonight, I can tell you in this last half hour, I have learned so much. I feel like I need to get my notebook out and take some notes. You all are schooling me. And I am very, very appreciative of that. Do you have anything else to add? It's been very enriching. Thank you, Colin.
Of course. I mean, thank you for having me. I mean, I don't think I have anything else. I'm sure the professor will add a lot more than I could. Okay. Have a good day.
Thank you, Colin. Yay. All right. Next, we're going to bring on Brennan Pearson.
Hello.
Hi. There you are. Go ahead and please introduce yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Brennan Pearson. I'm 16 and I go to an online school called the George Washington University Online School.
Excellent. And what have you learned about AAPI history in school?
To be honest, I mean, not much. Comparatively, like everyone else has been saying, I don't think that this is a very well covered topic. In U.S. history, we touched on it very briefly with the California railroad workers, but really nothing of substance. Most of my knowledge, my limited knowledge of AAPI history, has come from talking to my parents, my grandparents, my family. So really, all just through the family.
I see. And just can you share maybe one of the things that kind of struck you when you did have these conversations? Because it's great that you actually have family that's been able to share a little bit.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think, obviously I'd like to learn more about, other people's experiences, but within the family, like, my grandfather came to America, many years ago, many decades ago, and just talking to him about his experiences, drastically different from mine, even my experiences compared to my parents' experiences. Yeah. The amount of hardships that they had to go through, the types of things they had to endure, and I think we all take for granted how equal it actually has become. My grandfather moved to Virginia, when he first moved to America. And the amount of racism and stereotypes and discrimination he faced there, far beyond most of what I've ever seen. So just hearing about that, I think it's really astounding to see how far we've already come.
Yes, but we still have a far way to go, of course. But it's absolutely 100% right. Having these immigrant stories, having these stories shared to us through others' experiences is a way to build empathy and understanding, and that is part of it, right? That's still part of history, is learning from the past, learning that racism shouldn't exist, and that today, when it does and when it pops up, that it's something that we wanted to leave in the past, and so we have to learn from that, and which is why history is so important. Can you actually tell me about any time maybe that you mentioned you had some discrimination, even if it wasn't to the level of your grandfather? It doesn't make it any less impacting or any less important for you as an experience of what you've been through.
Right. Well, I think in general, there are, like everyone's been saying, there are a lot of stereotypes that exist. Obviously, the Chinese being good at math, that's a very big one. Math is not my forte, so I'd love to be good at math, but unfortunately, it doesn't really work that way for me. One thing that does stand out from when I was really young was, I was like at a junior league baseball game, and some of my teammates were talking to me, and they were like, "Well, are you going to eat a dog after we play?" And I'm like, at that age, I was like 7. I was like, "What do you mean eat a dog?" I'd never really heard of that. And of course, as I got older, I realized, okay, well, now I understand what was happening. But I think, when we see situations like this, we really have to question, how as a society we're handling things when we allow influences to come in, for people that young. These were 6, 7, 8, 9-year-olds who were saying this stuff. So I think that was sort of a wake up call.
Yeah, and just to echo what I just spoke with Colin, it's like as children, we don't know, and maybe it sounds kind of funny and we're not necessarily emotional at that moment, but as adults we process it, and you realize, like, wow, I've kind of been subject to something because of how I look, and that's never easy. That's never easy to process. And I know that it's hard when you look at, because my father also has an amazing immigrant story, and thinking about the things that he had to go through and endure so that I could live the life I'm living. It still doesn't make it it's not a comparison, right? That what you're experiencing isn't difficult or challenging in its own way, because I feel like your generation in particular has a different set of challenges with the internet and with social media and with kind of a different way and exposure to racism and things like that. And I find that super fascinating, because I've kind of got one foot in, one foot out. I'm like kind of in the middle there, where I understand that side of it, but I'm also kind of from a generation where it's all still fairly new as well. And I'm learning as I go. Why do you think it's important for all people to learn about AAPI history?
Well, I think that, like I said, I think, relatively speaking, any type of Asian awareness, anything regarding Asian history, Asian culture, I think it's very, very undertaught. There's not a lot of awareness about it at all. When you look at, the type of awareness that's being raised for other minorities, which is awesome, right? The African Americans, the Hispanics, there's a lot of progress making on those fronts. But for the Asian community, it's never really been there. We don't have an outspoken voice. We don't have a lot of advocates. So I think that, if we're going to address issues like this, if we're going to address things like racism and discrimination and biases, I think that it's really important for everyone to get, a basic grounded understanding of, what the culture is, what the history is, what type of, hardships people had to face when they come here. I think when people have a more rounded worldview like that, when they understand, the basis for why things, are how they are, I think there's a lot less ignorance, a lot more tolerance.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And, you kind of touched on it a little bit in this last answer, but what do you think learning about AAPI history can tell us about American history?
Well, I think that, Asian Americans definitely had a very, very big role in the development of America. America is a country made up of immigrants. Our blend of diversity and cultures and history is what makes us special. We're the only country in the world that is unique like that. So I think that, I think that just understanding how Asians and everyone played a role in founding this country, and how it's a part of the country's soul. I mean, this is never going to go away, right? This diversity is what makes America America. So I think understanding that and being exposed to that is really important for everyone.
Brennan Pearson, very well said, sir. Do you have anything else to share? But otherwise, you were very articulate.
Well, thank you. I think that this is great that you're doing this initiative. I think a couple years ago, if you had said if anyone had heard this would actually be a movement, I don't think anyone would have really taken it seriously. So I think it's really awesome that you and so many others are doing work like this to spread awareness and to make this issue mainstream, like how it should be. So really great job, and I appreciate you inviting us on here.
Oh, thank you so much. And I will definitely be talking to you again in the future, I think, Brennan Pearson. Thank you so much, Brennan Pearson, everybody. Yay. All right. Next, we are moving to Lonnie.
Hello.
Hi, Lonnie. We saw your sister a little bit earlier. Can you go ahead and introduce yourself?
My name is Leilani, and I am 13, and I go to Gotham Middle School.
All right. And what have you learned about AAPI history in middle school?
I haven't really learned about Asian American history at all in school, but I have learned about it in documentaries and events that I have done in the past with my mom. And I feel like it really has a big impact on my life. And if we show it to other people, like at our school, it would make me and especially other people happy to know that other people are learning about our impact in the society.
Yeah, very, very well said. And what questions do you actually have about AAPI history? Since you've been watching documentaries, I'm gathering that you're learning quite a bit, but you seem like you want to learn a lot more. Are there specific questions you have about it?
The only question that I have is when it's going to be taught in school, because today or this month, it's Hispanic Heritage Month, and I am Hispanic and Asian. And I'm happy that we're learning about Hispanic cultures and stuff, but to know that it doesn't go the same for Asians makes me sad, because we're not put like in the same place as other cultures. To know that we're put down makes me feel sad, and we're not learned about, because we have a big impact in the community and in history, and that's led up to today, and not a lot of people know that.
Absolutely. It does feel really bad to feel excluded, right? It's almost as if we're removed from history, and it's not right. You're 100% on that, correct? And we need to change that. And so, of course, that's why we're here having this conversation. And I'm here with Make Us Visible Florida and trying to get everything going. But in all honesty, your voices, yours and everybody's tonight, is far more impacting and far more important than even my voice. And I think you sharing is going to really make a huge difference. So thank you for that. And why do you think it's important for like not just Asian Americans to learn about it, but for everyone to learn about AAPI history?
I think it's important because I just feel that we've had a lot in history, like we've done a lot, and for it to be taught in schools would just I feel it would change different people's perspectives on Asians, and that would be good. I also have something to share. In my doc, I didn't put it in, but I wanted to share that I have been through bullying, and people have said probably in first or second grade, people would come up to my ear and just say ching chong while my mother is right in front of me, and I didn't know what to say because I don't know how to stand up for myself. I see as if I can't do anything about it. And today, people don't see me as Asian, so they would say stuff behind my back or in front of me like, oh, Asians, they're super smart and they should be, why do they need a calculator on a math test? They're smart, they don't need all that. And my friends who are also Asian, they have gotten so used to that they make fun of themselves. And I'm like, we shouldn't be making fun of ourselves because we've gotten so used to being made fun of. And it just disappoints me.
Yeah.
It makes me frustrated.
Yeah. Lonnie, thank you for sharing that. I know I've been saying this to a lot of your other friends that are on here, but it's super brave for you to bring that up and for you to share that with me and everybody listening. But it makes a difference to hear that because it's so important that we correct that behavior, that we say, no, it's not okay to say these things. They are hurtful. Because if we don't correct the behavior, then they will continue to do it to someone else, right? And they will think it's okay. And so I know it's not always easy to do, especially when you're 7 or 8 years old and you don't know what to say or do. But perhaps that needs to be a class that we include on helping kids know how to respond to some of these things. And I think there are some programs out there, and I'm going to look that up so that I can share those resources with you. But I'm really sorry that you've had to go through that. And you clearly are a strong young lady, but it doesn't mean it's not hurtful. So I understand how you feel. I have been there. And even as an adult, it doesn't necessarily end, but that's why we're talking tonight to hopefully make that difference. So thank you so much for sharing. And thank you so much for, contributing to this conversation. It was really, really amazing.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Lonnie, you take care. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, bye. Next, I have Julia.
Hello.
Hey, Julia, so nice to see you. I'm getting spotlighted right now. Oh my goodness. Thank you for being so patient. I know I've been mixing up the ages and everybody's schools so that we could have some variety. And I know you've been waiting for a very long time to talk to me, and you've been very patient. So thank you so much, Julia. Can you tell me how old you are and what school you go to?
I am 10 and I go to Groveland Elementary School.
All right. And what have you learned about AAPI history in Groveland?
I don't remember learning about any AAPI history.
Okay. And do you want to learn about AAPI history in school?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd love to.
You would love to. And why do you think it would be important to learn about AAPI history?
Because I feel that all history is important.
Yeah. That is beautifully and articulately and very, very, very succinctly said. Thank you for sharing that. I think all history is important too. So if we had a teacher online, do you have like any questions about AAPI history that you can think about, or a subject or something you want to learn more about?
Holidays.
That is very relevant because you know why? Especially in the Asian culture, holidays are very, very important for various reasons, and other cultures as well. So I like learning about holidays too. And I always like learning about food. Yes, this is the second time I've talked about food in this conversation. Do you have any other questions for me, Julia? No? Oh, you've been so patient. And your quote is a really great one tonight because all history is important. And you are 100% right in that. Thank you for saying that. And thank you for sharing.
Welcome. Thank
All
you.
right. You take care. Lovely to see you. Let's
Nice to see you
too. All right. And we've got Julian Alexander next. And actually, this is Julian Alexander's second town hall with us. He made a very lovely cameo at our first town hall with Representative Eskamani and Dr. Chang. And so he was our high school representative, and now he is coming on board as one of our student conversationalists tonight. Please introduce yourself, Julian.
Hello. Yes, I'm very glad to be here. My name is Julian Alexander. I'm 14. I'm a sophomore at the George Washington University Online High School.
Excellent. Excellent. And what have you learned about AAPI history in school?
Sadly, there isn't enough. I haven't learned much. It's mostly credit to my parents and some of the exposure they've been giving me since I was a kid homeschooling. And I think the school system really needs to improve on giving more education in terms of different races and diversity. And I think AAPI is the right next step.
Yeah, thank you so much. And, since I've spoken to you before, I know you've shared some of your stories. And if you're comfortable, can you please tell me and share about a time when you were discriminated against because of your ethnicity?
Yeah, absolutely. A great example is when I was, a little kid and I was just getting acclimated to Orlando. We went to this chocolate factory. It was actually pretty cool. It's like a chocolate exhibit. And basically we came across this guy and his wife who apparently got annoyed at my brother and me because we were simply, answering questions about chocolate. And I'm not exactly sure why, but he got somehow annoyed, didn't think it was right for us to know all that, I guess. And he just started, going a little crazy and screaming at, me and my family, at my mom, saying we should go back to our own country. We don't belong here. A guy even had to step in between him and my mom. And so, the severity of the situation got really intense. I think to have an incident like that at my age and during this time, I think it's totally unacceptable. I don't think that we should have any more of these incidents going on in America. I mean, we're a modern country and we should already be diverse and already have, a sense of morality.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm very sorry that you and your family had to endure that. It sounded terrifying, actually. I mean, you were a young child at the time. Were you very afraid?
Yeah, absolutely. I've never had a grown man just come up and start screaming like that. And it was like he totally went berserk over, a simple matter that would not even be a problem. But he wanted some sort of issue. He wanted to instigate this whole situation. I don't know if he, enjoyed that kind of thing or just, it's in his nature to be that way. But, I think trying to expose the next generation to AAPI education is highly important because then people won't grow up not understanding, I absolutely did not really take offense to that situation. I actually felt sorry for that man because he doesn't understand how much pain he's causing, and he doesn't understand how idiotic he looks in this situation. And I think what we really need to do is expose people to different cultures so that they can be more educated in this area and stop making bizarre scenes and try to embarrass people when they're really only embarrassing themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's very mature of you to take that, viewpoint. It's always difficult, but luckily you and your family are safe and luckily it didn't escalate. But unfortunately, we've been seeing escalation of that, in the last year and a half, right? We've all seen the videos and some of them have been very violent. And that's why we are having this conversation. So I appreciate you being here talking about it. And, we've been kind of sharing a lot tonight. We've heard from a lot of different voices. And what do you think learning about AAPI history can tell us about American history?
Well, I think education is one of the most important things in society. It teaches, every human being, how not only about, the fundamentals of math or history. It teaches you how to become, a person in this vast world, how to be mature. And I think in combination with history is an important subject because we can learn from, what our ancestors did wrong in the past to write the future. And so I think when you combine those two and we try and learn more about history, especially history in different cultures, I think overall it will just help everyone out. It will help, me as an Asian American learn more about my own ancestry to help others out. And it will also help, those who don't know much about Asian American history learn about that so that they can, tell others about it and, be a little bit more corrected.
Well, thank you so much. That was very beautifully said. And you are actually our final student speaker for the evening. So thank you for wrapping that up so beautifully and succinctly, and for your honesty and sharing, especially the traumatic story. I very much appreciate that. I think it's important that we do share these stories so people can hear that these things do happen and it has an impact and it's not okay. So thank you so much, Julie and Alexandra. I really appreciate you being here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
All right. Oh my goodness. I am overwhelmed by all these amazing students that I had the very great pleasure of speaking with tonight. And I'm going to bring on our final guest speaker for the evening, who's going to kind of just share a little bit from a educational point of view. And it is Dr. Christian Ravella, who is a literary and cultural studies scholar of race in the U.S. with a particular interest in Asian studies at UCF. And I asked him to come on and share some thoughts on our discussion and maybe answer some of the questions that the kids might have asked. And he was very gracious to take some time out of his day to come in and spend some time with us. So hello, Dr. Ravella.
Hello. And I just want to add that it was Asian American studies. And
I'm so sorry.
No problem. I mean, this was not a bother at all. It was really such an honor and just a pleasure to see so many young people here. It's so heartening to me.
Yes, it's energizing.
Right? Totally. Because I'm like, this was never around when I was like a kid in the 90s. And so I'm like, wow, how my life would have been different otherwise. But, listening across everybody's kind of comments, it seems really clear that, what we want, or perhaps is from Asian American history, is an understanding of where we came from. What were the historical forces that brought us here? What were the histories that produced the kind of negative stereotypes that we're subjected to, And I think that's what it would provide for those, AAPI folk here. But I would also say that it also, provides us an understanding about about American history to give a kind of sober and honest understanding about what has been the history of America's relationship to the world is what we get from Asian American history and culture, right? And the second, I think, point, listening across everybody is that I think it's not only those complicated and difficult histories that we want to know, but how communities developed in spite of those difficulties and the forms of thriving and cultural expressions and creativity that emerged and the forms of, struggles that are part of a certain kind of American history that we could be part of, like stories and histories about civil rights. We could think about Philip Veracruz and the kind of United Farm Workers struggles. We could think about Yuri Kuchiyama and those struggles within kind of Black radical movements. And those are part of Asian American history, and one that I think, is necessary and needed for everybody, really.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I couldn't agree more. And like I said, I'm still reeling from the conversation that just kind of took place over this last 45 minutes. I knew it was going to be great, but it kind of went beyond my expectations. And you really just kind of wrapped that up in a nutshell very nicely. Thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate
Definitely.
it. Is there any last final thoughts that you want to share, other than obviously we need AAPI history in our schools?
No, definitely. And I just want to say, keep going. keep going. And this is wonderful. And, stick with it. And I think it heartens me more to see this happening.
Excellent. And, you are also part of this coalition and volunteering behind the scenes, working with us. So I appreciate you, and I appreciate you being here and sharing with our youth. I will just say a quick shout out to Adrienne Lee, who is on here running tech support. She may not want to pop on the camera now or not. It's up to her, but I wanted to make sure I thank her as well for being here. And I want to thank all of our volunteers that aren't on this call, but that are working so hard behind the scenes. I am so grateful for everyone that's really putting this coalition, making this coalition go. So thank you. On that note, I still need more volunteers. So all of you kids that are on the screen right now, there are things that you can absolutely do if you want to join in on the fun and do a little bit more. Please do join us as an organization. Those of you viewers at home, if you are not inspired by this conversation, by all of these children and teenagers and young adults, I don't know what's going to inspire you. So please follow us on Facebook, sign the petition, share the petition. We also need more organizational support. So if you are a small business, if you are part of a nonprofit, if you are part of a religious organization, we have space for you on our petition for you to put your organization up there. And the more support that our legislators can see that the state of Florida, that their constituents, that their citizens want AAPI history, the more success we're going to have in getting this bill passed and getting these children the education they are screaming for, that they are yearning for. So please be a part of that and join us. And I think, Adrienne, what we could do now is just have everybody, if you want to turn on your cameras and say goodbye and good night to everyone and just wave. I am speechless, and I've been talking quite a bit already for the last hour. And I just want to thank all of my speakers tonight. I want to thank all of my volunteers and Adrienne and Dr. Ravella. Thank you all so much for being here. You are the best. And share this conversation. If people didn't get to sign on live, if you're on live, hello, shout out to you. But if you didn't get to see this live, please share this with your friends and family. Everyone needs to hear your voices. Bye, everybody. Have a lovely, lovely evening. Thank you so much for joining me. Visible Florida.
That's all for today's episode. Thanks for listening to the Sifu Mimi Chan Show. Please subscribe and rate my podcast on your platform of choice and leave a review. You can become a patron of the show at patreon.com/SifuMimiChan to help keep this podcast going. Follow me and interact on social media at Sifu Mimi Chan on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook.